My name is Joshua Omonuk, a climate activist from Uganda. I'm very glad and happy to be a part of this. I'm going to be sharing a short story about how I joined activism and what we are doing in Uganda with the Rise Up movement. It was back in 2019 that I watched Vanessa Nakati on TV, speaking about climate change and how climate change affects us. In whatever she was speaking, it was happening in my village. We're having droughts, we're having long periods of time without rain, no water, and would go further to look for water. This touched me, and I began to study more about climate change. I began to read why do things happen like this? Because prior, we had assumed that climate change is misfortune or it's caused by the spirits not being happy, something of that sort. I began reading more about climate change, and I got to learn that actually climate change is caused by each and every activity that we do, by our patterns of consumptions, by our production, and so many other things. That's how I began reading about climate change, doing climate change activities, and becoming a climate activist. I gave up my full-time job as a statistician and devoted all my energy and time in climate change work. I was lucky I joined the Rise Up movement, and I'm serving there as an administrative officer. That Rise Up movement, on top of the work I do as a person, we do several works together because we're a group of young people who believe in change, who believe in climate action, and among others. The number one activity that we have been working on this year was the Green School Project. This project was spearheaded by David Rauben. David Rauben is also a climate activist, and David Rauben believes in sustainable energy. In these projects, we'll teach children about climate change and what causes climate change. We also install eco-friendly stoves because many schools use open fires, and with eco-friendly stoves, the school will be using less firewood and will be cutting less trees. Because we observe, for instance, if a school is using about 5 lorries of firewood each a semester, when we install an eco-friendly stove, they'll be using about 1 lorry of firewood per semester. That will simply mean we are cutting less trees, and the school is using a better source of energy. These schools are far in the villages. We also install for them solar panels, and these solar panels is also another form of sustainable energy. We educate the children about solar panels, and also they're able to study at night, since prior they had no electricity. This campaign has been so productive because in all schools we go to, we educate children right from when they are young, educating them about climate change, basics about climate change, basics about our consumption patterns, basics about pollution, and we believe as more children are learning about climate change, the future generation, they'll be more responsible and they'll be able to make better solutions for these climate activities. That's a summary about that project. Then also there's another young lady we're working with. She's called Evelyn Acham. Evelyn Acham is also a climate activist at Rise Up movement. She believes in adding the climate change into the curriculum of Uganda. She's doing that advocacy, raising campaigns, and together we're also doing it with her. Evelyn has also promised us that next year, together as Rise Up movement with her, we are going to pledge to plant about 1,000 trees, and that we are going to do all over the country. Also in the Rise Up movement, I'm still working with another gentleman called Isaac Sentumbwe. Isaac Sentumbwe believes in equality and climate justice, because these climate change effects affect women and men differently. In Africa, women do much of the work. They look for food, they raise children, they look for water, and whenever there is a climate crisis, like drought, like a famine, the women are going to be doing much and more work. So he believes in making environment more equitable, more sustainable, and more favorable for women. That's why he does activities on the Girl Child. He teaches more children. He tries to help out girl children in their livelihood. There are also 2 brilliant young ladies that we work with in Rise Up movement, Joan and Claire. They also advocate for climate change, but however, part of their work, they also do believe in violence against women. They spread awareness for violence against women, because we believe everyone is equal. Everyone deserves the right to be peaceful, so there should be no violence against women. There's sexual violence, there's burning of breasts, several forms of violence that they try to raise awareness of. Some I also didn't know, but from their awareness, I got to learn about them, and I'm also spreading that advocacy. Then me, Joshua Omonuk, the one speaking, you might be wondering why I'm talking about all these people. I'm the admin at Rise Up Movement, and we believe in raising a team of very many young activists who are demanding for action and who are also doing climate change activities on the ground, who are trying to forge a solution. Me as Joshua, I believe in sustainable land use and sustainable consumption, because our consumption patterns greatly affect the climate crisis. Our consumption patterns multiply the pollution that we see. That's why I do campaigns on climate change and pollution, climate change and land use. And also next year, I think I'll be doing more trainings and teaching farmers on sustainable land use, because farmers and agriculture have a contribution to the greenhouse gas emissions. However, most of them do not know they actually do that. So I believe when I train them about this, when I train them on how more sustainable they can work and produce food for us, we shall forge a solution which covers every party. The farmer can still produce food for sale, but however, taking care of also the environment. I'm also grateful for Vanessa Nakate for she showed me about climate change. She stood up for climate. She stood up to teach people about climate change, and I got to learn. There are several activities we do at Rise Up Movement and several activities we do on ground. We do online campaigns, that's Fridays for Future, and also depending on the pattern and what we are doing on that month. Like the previous month, we have been campaigning about the crude oil pipeline, because we believe it's going to affect so many people. It looks so good, but it also have a lot of bad sides. That's a basic summary of what we do and how my work has been in climate change and what I do, because I believe every young person needs to do something about the climate crisis. We face a couple of challenges, and also we have made a couple of achievements. Right now online, we have made very good traction online. At least many people are starting to listen to us and seeing what we do. And we feel that is good, because at least there's a conversation we have sparked about climate change. At least now in our country, people talk about climate change. There are few, but still there's a ray of hope that more and more people are going to be talking about climate change. And we have hope that we shall see a better and more sustainable environment for each and every one. We have also all activities we have done on Congo, like in the schools. We see the schools we have worked on, they're using less and less firewood, and we are happy. The students are able to read up to night. That makes us happy and gives us joy. Even our on-ground work, at least we are reaching far more people. However, there are some setbacks we face too. For instance, sometimes our climate work is mixed with political work. When you talk about climate change and need climate action now, some people who don't know about climate change, they feel like you've gone political. But however, with more awareness, we are overcoming that kind of challenge. Also, many times we want to reach as more students as possible, as more schools as possible. However, we could be limited by our region and also by the funds. So we don't reach each and every one, although we don't reach all of them. It gives a burden on our hearts, a burden on each and every one, but we keep on moving. I'm very happy to be a part of this, to be a part of your program, because I read about your website, the work you do. You're doing a very good work. Thank you very much. My name is Joshua Omonuk, a climate activist from Uganda. Thank you.